Welcome to Census Data Made Easy Tool Tour Part 1. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go through a quick PowerPoint presentation and then we're going to get online. Today I want to highlight tools from census.gov that make census data easy. No tricky functionality, no sophisticated census data knowledge needed. Most importantly, no searching hours for a single piece of census data. I want to keep it simple and show you some easy-to-access tools available to you free of cost on census.gov. The tools I'm going to show you today in the online demonstration are the population clock, which provide both national and international statistics at high level. Quick facts, frequently requested statistics at the national, state, county, and city level. Census Flowmapper, which is a simple interface to view county-to-county migration flows. You can also view characteristics of movers. And finally, my Congressional District, and as the name suggests, allows you to look at data by Congressional District on population and characteristic data, such as income, education, and economic data as well. To the right is a map that was rendered using Census Closemapper, and it shows the total net migration flows for Maricopa County, Arizona, the county with the highest numerical increase from 2017 to 2018. The Census Bureau is your key data resource for areas large and small. You have the ability to look at data not only for the nation, for states, for counties, but also for cities and towns and even smaller areas such as census tracts. This can be extremely useful in your research and broaden the scope of what census data can help you accomplish. With that, I'm going to go online to census.gov, www.census.gov. I'm going to make this a full screen for you here. The first tool we're going to look at is the population clock. It's right here on the main page, to the right of the main newsroom area where they feature the most recently released information. And here we see that counties in Texas take 4 out of the top 10 spots in terms of counties in growth from 2017 to 2018, and that comes from the Population Estimates Program. You go ahead and click on Population Clock. And here, immediately, you see that this clock is running. This clock is going, and it is showing how our population is changing not only in the United States, but also in the world. It provides information on how the clock is changing, which are the components of population change: birth, death, international migration, and the net gain. And that is what we see on the clock above. The United States, with its projected population this year, this July 1st, is 331 million, and it ranks 3rd in the world in population behind India and China. We're going to explore some of the statewide, the United States data first, and then we will explore data for other countries. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Here we are allowed to click on the date and select any date back to April 1st, 2010 to get population on that particular date. April 1st, 2010, this is the population as of the 2010 census. It was 308 million. We've gained 20 million people since the 2010 census. We will be conducting a 2020 census next spring, so be aware of that. And in addition to conducting a census once a decade, the Census Bureau is very busy working on programs and surveys throughout the decade to continually update our geographic areas, release updated estimates and projections on a variety of topics, and the data is available for public consumption here on census.gov. I'm going to go ahead and go back to April 23rd, and we see that 328 million. Here's a line graph, United States population growth by region. So the regions are Northeast, Midwest, West, and South. This is from 2010 to 2018, and as we go through the years, we see some change, but where we see the largest change is the West and the South. The Northeast and the Midwest remain relatively constant in terms of population and their share of the population, which you see on the right in the percentage. The South has gained 10 million people from 2010 to 2018. Now let's take a look at the population pyramid here. This is an interactive population pyramid, and I think a really good demonstration of how the interactive pyramid works is to look at the baby boom generation and how they have grown over that time period. In 2010, the oldest baby boomers were 64. So just be aware, that little area right above 60, and let's watch that. And that cohort, which spans almost 20 years, let's watch it grow from 2010 to 2017. Okay, going down to the bottom, the last thing that the population clock shares for the United States is information on the most populous and highest density states, counties, and cities. For states, we've got California. Behind that is Texas. California's got 39 million and a half plus in population. Counties, Los Angeles County, over 10 million. And behind that, Cook County, Illinois, where Chicago is based, where Chicago lives, and that's at 5 million. So there's a big difference between the number 1 and the number 2, about 5 million. In cities, New York City, New York, over 8.5 million. We take a look at density, population per square mile. You see the District of Columbia ranks first with 11,490.1 population per square mile. And behind that is New Jersey. In terms of counties, New York, highest density, followed by Kings County, New York. In cities, Gutenberg Town, New Jersey, which is right over the Hudson River from New York City, is the most dense city in the United States. If you're interested in population projections data for the United States from the Census Bureau, you just have to scroll down to the bottom of the population clock, and you'll see right here, population projections, and you can click on that. All right, there's information on the projections, as well as some guidance for data users and technical documentation. Let me go back to the pyramid, scroll up, and now it's time to look at some international data. So click on the world up top. And at this point, we can select our county from the drop-down menu, and the map is rendering. We can select our county here, country rather, or we can select it by clicking on the map. Let's take a look at data for Canada, our neighbors to the north. All we have to do is click on it, and from here we get quite a bit of information. We get basic facts such as the population, the sex ratio, population per square mile. We've got 4. The population per square mile here is 4. If you look at right below this is comparison, so we can compare that 4 to the United States, which is 36.3, so it's a much less densely populated country. And there's information on the value of exports and imports and change in exports. So they've seen a 46% increase in exports from 2009 to 2018. There's some further information here on Trade in the lighter blue is imports on this line graph, and this darker color is exports. So you can look at the trend line in value from 2009 to 2018. We also received both the current population, which we saw above in basic facts, and a population projection. In 2050, the population in Canada is projected to be 41.1 million, so they are projected to see growth. This population pyramid has a slightly different shape than the one in the United States, and when we look at another country, you'll see the same. They all have their own flavor. I'm going to scroll back up. For this example, let's take a look at Jamaica. Let's check out the statistics for that country. Population is 2.8 million. The population per square mile here is almost 260. So compared to the United States and Canada, it is a much more densely populated country. Let me scroll down. Here we do get data for the top exported goods by the United States or territory. We see that they are receiving petroleum and coal products from Louisiana, the same in Texas, computer equipment and some communication equipment from Florida. This population, the population in Jamaica, is expected to decline over the same period. So from 2018 at 2.8 million to 2.3 million in 2050. If you look at the population pyramid here, this one is quite different from the other two we've seen. It's almost a bell shape, which is telling us that a much larger share of the population is in this younger age ranges, as demonstrated here. Up next, we're going to look at Quick Facts, which is one of my favorite tools. I'm going to click on the Census Bureau logo up top, which will take us back to the main page. And Quick Facts is also conveniently located on the main page right in the middle, below the news section. Okay, Quick Facts. The default for Quick Facts is the United States as a geographic area, and this table format, a table view. But I'd like to bring your attention to up top here. We have other ways to view the data. In addition to a table view, there's a map view, a chart view, and a dashboard, which combines all three into one. Quick Facts is a wonderful resource and a great place to start your research, as long as you're looking at data for areas, cities, towns, populations above 5,000. So just be aware of that population threshold. I'm going to use some of the most populous counties from the population clock to include here in our Quick Facts demo. We include Harris County, Texas, Los Angeles County, and you can enter up to 6 geographic areas that will render on here on the table. Maricopa County, that's where Arizona is, Phoenix rather is located. Phoenix is in Maricopa County, if you're not familiar with that. And also Cook County, Illinois. Here, so we've got 5 geographic areas. If we wanted to add another one, we certainly could, and it would show up here in our table. So what are we looking at? Quick Facts is a wonderful mismatch of data sources and information. So you're getting data from multiple census surveys and programs. In most census tables, the information comes from just one program. such as the Population Estimates Program, or perhaps our largest survey, the American Community Survey. You may be looking at a table of American Community Survey data or county business patterns data. But here you're looking at data for probably at least 10 different data sources. So it's combining some really valuable, useful, frequently requested data in one place. And up top, you can see that population is listed here. People data, we have people in business. Population, you get a quick population estimate, the most recent estimate as of July 1st, 2018. We also get the population from the 2010 census, and a handy population percent change, which is something we don't usually offer in our tables. You have to calculate it yourself. So here we see the Maricopa County, the population percent change is 15.5, much higher than Los Angeles. Cook County, which has experienced a little bit of a population decline over that 8-year period. In the United States, the national average is a 6% growth. We have data on age and sex, and there's a triangle with an exclamation point in it, just to let you know that there are different sources of age data, race data as well, from the Census Bureau, and depending on what you're using the information for and at what geographic level you're looking at, the recommended source of data from the Census Bureau may change. If you have questions, you can feel free to contact us at any time, and I'll provide you with our call-in number at the end of the training. Right, population characteristics such as veterans, the foreign-born percent. So in Cook County, we've got about 21% foreign-born. Los Angeles, 34.4%. The United States average is almost 13.5%. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. You can get a feel for the variety of information, families and living arrangements. One of our new questions is on computer and internet use, or new topic areas rather. So we ask about households with a computer and whether or not they have broadband, educational attainment, health, disability status, health insurance. So we see some different numbers here when we look at the counties in terms of population without health insurance. The percentage quite high in Harris County at 22%. Now, one thing I wanted to point out here is the language other than English spoken at home. In Los Angeles County, over half of the households speak a language other than English at home. And that percentage is quite high in Harris County, Texas as well, 43.7%. The national average is a little over 21%. Okay, and I'm just going to scroll down so you can get a feel for what else is available. Commuting time, income and poverty, which is probably the most frequently requested statistic. Information on businesses in terms of employer establishments and minority-owned firms. So you get a little bit of everything here. If you're looking for your FIPS code, land area in square miles, and that population per square mile, that tells us the population density. Okay, I'm going to scroll up now. And let's say we want to look at the data in a different format. Let's say we're interested in mapping language by county. And since we noticed that Los Angeles has such a high percentage, I wonder if other counties have such a high percentage as well. So let's map by county in California the percentage who speak a language other than English at home. We have to select our fact. The default fact is just the population estimate. So let me go down here. It's under families and living arrangements. All right. So we're going to scroll in here a little bit. In Los Angeles County, 56%. Okay, and then if we scroll around, we can get the percentages for the other counties. Okay. Further north you go here, we do see much lower percentages, but these higher percentages and the legend is at the bottom. The highest percentages are sort of peppered through the state. I'm going to go back to the table. I wanted to point something out. When I clicked on maps, it made me select one of these geographic areas. If I would have selected United States, we would have gotten a national map with state level data. And any of the counties that I would have selected would have provided data for that state broken down by county. So you would have gotten the state level map like we did for California, broken down by county. Next, let's take a look at the chart view. Again, it's asking me what geographic areas would you like, and I would like view selected locations here. And the selected locations are those 5 locations that we've already looked at. Okay, and so we still have that language other than English spoken at home. But this presents it in a nice bar chart, and I feel like for 5 or 6 counties or cities, this is a really great way to get a quick visual comparison on a particular variable. Okay? It's a little bit more digestible for people. So this is great. You can take a screenshot of this and use it in a presentation or a report. You also have the option here. You can download it. All right. You can share it as well, embed it, email it. If you wanted to remove one of the geographic areas, you can. It's as simple as clicking on the little X box. This gives us some additional information about the estimates and the data that are in the table. If you see any value flags where there is not data, but there is a letter or a number, just scroll down to the bottom and you'll get an explanation of that. Finally, the dashboard. Before I click on that, you could select any fact here. So if we were more interested, say, in foreign-born persons, we can change it to that. If we wanted to add in, say, Charleston County, South Carolina, that would also enter our foreign-born bar chart here. Okay? Now I'm going to click on Dashboard. Again, it says, what do you want us to show you data for? What geographic area will we display data? Here, let's pick something else. Let's pick Cook County, Illinois for the dashboard. And you get a little bit of everything here. You get the table, you get the map. See if we can zoom in a little bit. There you go. And you get the chart. Now here, it will give you a chart for all of the counties in Illinois. That's just the default, and there's really no way you can change that. But if we wanted to say add one of these counties to our other counties, we could do so just by clicking on this little X box here. And that actually changed the dashboard. We could go ahead and you can scroll over to see the percentages. Okay, that's pretty much it for quick facts. If you want to know what's new or you want to explore some of the frequently asked questions, you can do so here in the What's New and FAQs area up top. And if you wanted to include just one topic area, let's say income and poverty, you could do so here. All right. The next tool I want to show you is the Census Flowmapper. I'm going to go to the main page. It is not accessible directly through the main page. we need to go to our Data Tools page. So how do we get there? You go to Explore Data, Data Tools and Apps. Once we click on Data Tools and Apps, it takes us to a long list of data tools. And this is called Census Flowmapper. So I'm going to scroll down. I know this is on the first page. Click on Census Flowmapper. And so it tells us it's a web mapping application intended to provide users with a simple interface to view, save, and print migration flow maps. And once we get here, we need to go ahead and launch the Flowmapper. But before we do this, I just want to point out, if you want more instruction on the Flowmapper, you can watch a video by clicking right there. And if you want to view the data that's behind the application, you can look at the county-to-county migration flows tables. And it also has a link to the API developer page if you work in that area and you want to use the data for some of your own projects. I'm launching the Flowmapper. And once the map renders, in order to get started to get any data, we need to select a geographic area. So I'm going to start with Charleston County. We're going to look at Maricopa County as well. We'll just start with Charleston. I'm going to zoom in a bit so we can see it better. So we need to do a little bit of maneuvering to get it there. This is our legend. We can actually move the legend, so you can move it out if it is in the way. And Charleston County is outlined in red here. What are we looking at? Well, the default view is net migration flows, which are inbound flows minus outbound flows. So this is the default view. And those counties in orange represent positive net migration into Charleston County over the given period. The given period here is 2012 to 2016. This tool lags behind a bit, and it releases data every other year instead of every year. It's still very useful. Okay, so those in the orange represent positive net migration into Charleston County over the given period. The darkest orange counties contributed the highest number of residents into Charleston County. So, for example, we click on Lexington County, South Carolina, and the net migration here. The net gain was 259 residents from Lexington County. So they gained more than they lost. They gained 259 more. It's the same story with any of these other orange, light, or dark counties. Dillon County, they had a net gain of 16 residents from Dillon County. You can look at these residents as the annual number of movers between counties for a 5-year period. So this is a number, this is an annual number. And these are estimates. They come from the American Community Survey, as I mentioned, the largest survey, largest household survey in the United States, certainly the largest survey that the census conducts, and it provides rich, detailed characteristic information about populations large and small. And all places, regardless of size, receive an updated estimate each and every year. So the American Community Survey is a very special source of data. And my colleagues, I have a couple of colleagues who will be providing American Community Survey specific webinars next week, I believe. One is on May 1st, Understanding the American Community Survey, and there's another one on May 7th. So you can make note of those and go to census.gov/academy if you would like to sign up for those sessions or any other sessions that we'll be providing. Okay, so we looked at the positive net migration. We can also look at the negative net migration. So these counties here, these are in proximity, they're adjacent to Charleston County, Berkeley County, and Dorchester County. So for example, Charleston County lost. They had a net loss of 552 people to Dorchester County. And here, Charleston had a net loss of 135 people to Berkeley County. And so here they lost more than they gained. So we've been looking at the net, which is the default. A lot of users like to look at the inbound flows to get information only on those that are moving in. And of course, we're going to see a high number of movers in those counties that are adjacent to Charleston. I'm going to zoom out a bit. This gives us a feel for some of the other areas in the United States that people may be moving to Charleston from. You see little specks of orange everywhere, which I think is fascinating. Similarly, if we wanted to look at outbound, we could. So just tell those people that move out of Charleston, where are they going? Of course, we have a high number of people in the state of South Carolina and in neighboring states, but quite a few in other states as well. And it was the same with inbound. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit. Instead of looking at Charleston County, I'm going to look at Maricopa County, because we know how fast it is growing, that many people are moving there, and I want to get a feel for the types of some of the characteristics of movers to this county. So again, we've got our county outlined in red. Let's go ahead and start with net here. We're looking at outbound. Let's go with net. As it renders, I want to point out you can view county statistics about movers by just clicking on View County Statistics. And at any time you can click on another county and it will start providing data for that county. County Statistics, the data table behind this, data for every county in the United States. You export that to CSV to be able to work with it. And we can look at movers by characteristics. This year, there was not, with this most recent release, we did not get characteristics, but the previous release, 2010 to 2014 ACS, did, in fact, have some characteristics associated with it. I'm going to scroll down. And if we wanted to see how many married couple family households with children, let's say, inbound, moved into Maricopa County each year during that period. We can select, as it renders, we can select some of the other counties surrounding. There's quite a few families with children, married couple family households with children that moved into Maricopa County. From other counties in Arizona, I'm also from Southern California, Pacific Northwest area, and really all over the United States. Let's go back to 2008 to 2012 and take a look at some other characteristics. These are different. We have employment status. We also have occupation. So if we wanted to see, get a feel for the number of people working in construction that have moved to or from Maricopa County, let's get a feel. Click on that. It will render. And again, we can just click on the map and get the numbers of the people that are working in not only construction but related fields, natural resources, maintenance occupations. These are the inbound flows from Maricopa County. If you have any questions about the variables, or if you just want a list of them, We know there are none associated with this most recent release, but the rest are listed here. So we have all of those right there. Any frequently asked questions are also here, and they're actually quite useful because they provide information about the estimates themselves, how migration is calculated, what's included in the math. And also, I meant to mention this earlier, toggle cities. We can add a dozen or so cities just to give you a geographic reference. You can change your color palette as well. And since we're just looking at inbound, it gives us one color, but if we looked at net, we would get both gain, which would be in pink, and loss in green. This is a different way to visualize the information. All right, now I'm going to go to the last tool, clicking on the banner. And the last tool is my Congressional District, which is useful if you would like to see data by Congressional District. Again, not accessible from the main page. We need to go to Explore Data, Data Tools and Apps. I believe this one is on the second page, my Congressional District. This information comes from our American Community Survey and also County Business Patterns. And the Congressional District I decided to use for this demonstration is the district where the University of Virginia is located, the 2019 men's NCAA basketball champions. And because I really don't know anything about the Congressional District that that school is located in, I just Googled and I got the zip code. And we can type in the zip code here. It's 22904. Click go, and it will take us to this other page, like a house lookup. So the congressman is in the 5th District of Virginia. We go back, we select our state. You can't just click on it. You actually have to go through the drop down. It doesn't take long. And then your data pops up. Make this a little bit larger for everyone. Get information on people. If you've worked with the American Community Survey data profiles, available on the American Fact Finder, if you've used those before, these are pretty similar. They're quite comprehensive. We've got the total population, 727,000, but then it's broken down by quite detailed age groups. We have race, Hispanic or Latino origin. So this is going to be more detailed than what we saw on Quick Facts. Get more detail. Place of birth and even ancestry. Okay, veteran status, we saw some of that earlier, disability status. Residence 1 year ago. If we wanted to display the margins of error, we could just click on this. And there are margins of error associated with all of the estimates because this is not census data. It's not 100% data from everyone. It's survey data. Although it's a very large survey sample, there's still some error associated with the data. And if you would like to see that, just click on Display ECS Margin of Error. Worker, this is some employment information, employment status, commuting to work, occupation, get the number of people in different occupations. We've got the 63,000 that are in sales occupations and 60,000 in service occupations. Information on industry, what industry do people work in. This is more specific than what we saw in the Flowmapper. So we've got construction broken out here on its own. There are about 25,000 people working in the construction industry in this district. And by far the largest number, over 91,000 work in educational services. No surprise there, considering it is proximity to the college, university. We can click on housing. Now, you haven't seen much housing data so far, and this gives a nice little housing profile for the Congressional District in terms of occupancy, tenure, which is owner-occupied or renter-occupied, information on when the person moved into the unit, the householder, the person filling out the form. And this is from the American Community Survey. The value, this is the self-reported value from the survey respondent. Mortgage status, do they have a mortgage or not? How much they're spending each month, the selected monthly owner cost. So how it gives you a feel for the cost of living in this congressional district, as well as what people are paying for rent. I won't go through all of these. This is socioeconomic. This is where you're going to get a lot of the rich detailed data about the population in terms of health insurance coverage, poverty, educational attainment, school enrollment, and finally, businesses. This is the first time we're seeing, other than that small amount of business data in quick facts, but that we're seeing data from some of our economic programs. So this is paid employees, and you get the number of paid employees by sector, payroll by sector, and number of establishments by sector. And this comes from the 2016 County Business Patterns. One more thing I'm going to show you before we leave. We're going to go to topics. So let's go to the main page. All right. I'm going to go to Browse by Topic. And here, if we're interested in knowing, does the Census Bureau have data on blank? Does the Census Bureau have data on people experiencing disability status? What do? We're going to browse by topic, subjects A to Z. You already start to see some of the topic areas here, and it will take you to a topic page. But let's stay focused on disability. Click on disability. And sometimes it will also provide, the A to Z will also provide information on topics that we don't have data on, but it will suggest where to go for that data, which is extremely useful. In disability, we do collect data on disability, and it's primarily through the American Community Survey and also through the Survey of Income and Program Participation. It provides information on the data and some publications on the topic. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint briefly, because I do want to mention Census Academy, which is really the education hub on census.gov, and the Census Academy staff is working hard to retool the whole website, and they'll have an official relaunch on May 14th. And Census Academy, just to give you a little background, it was created with a high focus on creating digital content for data users. So data users can learn how to access data through a variety of resources that allow users to learn at their own pace, watch quick tips and tricks videos, like data gems, which are just a couple of minutes long. And you see in this here the screenshot, what is the census tract, making sense of census geography. And here a colleague of mine does a great job giving you that information in just a couple of minutes. And they have them on a variety of topics. You can also get information on free live webinars, and all you have to do is visit census.gov/academy, and you can click on webinars to see those. And if you have questions that cannot be answered through some of the tools at Census Academy, you're welcome to reach out and contact us at 1-844-ASK-DATA or census.askdata@census.gov. And your questions will be routed to your local data dissemination specialist, and they will get back to you in a timely fashion and be able to assist you with any additional data needs. All right, I thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.